Let's start with kind of the challenges. Many of you are probably familiar with this, but as our students get older, as they hit fourth grade, as they shift from that learning to read to reading to learn that we talk about, they have to navigate increasingly complex texts. They need to sustain their attention for longer periods of time. They need to build and use their knowledge across a variety of topic areas. And then ultimately, they need to really develop their own identity and confidence as readers. And so these things can be challenging because, as students progress, they just get harder and harder. But we have some solutions for these. And so that's what we're really focusing on today is a foundation of research-based instructional practices, but then an intentional emphasis on whole books and thoughtfully designed tasks through curriculum that can create these conditions for really deep literacy growth. And so we'll dive into that now as we talk about sort of the how we have these solutions. Hope is not lost, but we just need to make these things happen. So um, let's take a look at how the reading and writing demands really progress across grades 4 to 8. You can see on the screen here, as students enter grade 4 and then really can, continue through grade 8, but this also continues through, grade 12 and beyond, texts are getting more and more complex and more deep, right? So they have increasingly complex vocabulary and then even more so increasingly complex syntax and syntax that doesn't represent the way we talk, right? Very few of us talk using em dashes or semicolons or all of these layered sentences, but when we see writing progress, it really starts to have all of those sophisticated sentence structures, and that can be challenging for students. They get conceptually more dense. There are abstract ideas. We always talk with students, in fourth and fifth grade that now all of a sudden sometimes there's not a happy ending or the book isn't kind of tied up with a bow and we need to think through what might that mean. And they start to see so much more nuance in their themes and in their knowledge about the world. And then they really also start to see kind of a variety of genres and how those genres bend together. What can I learn from a memoir? How does this take components of narrative of fiction, but also nonfiction? How can I learn about specific, argumentative text and really identify the nuances and use all of those across genre? So these are just some of the things that our readers in grades 4 through 8 need to be able to grapple with. And this doesn't just happen, right? We have to build this. So you'll see examples here. These are two of the texts, two of the wonderful whole books that we use in Red Thread. And you'll see Finding Langston. This is the first book that fourth graders read in our scope and sequence. And you can see there the sentence structure, I dream of Mama too, only not at night. The sentence is relatively easy to understand. There is a single narrative point of view. The plot structure is linear, it just progresses with time. And it's really rich and complex and perfect for fourth graders. But then as they progress, you get to syntax like the example from Uprising, which is an eighth grade text in our curriculum. And you can see that even in this fictional text that doesn't have quite as advanced sentence structure as some nonfiction we might see, the sentence still gets complex and confusing as more dialogue and different clauses are introduced, sorry. There's also multiple perspectives. The book alternates between the perspectives of three characters and a nonlinear plot structure. It starts in the future, it flashes back. The majority of the book is in the past, and then it comes back to the future. So there's all of these things that make it more difficult and complex for a student to understand. You see in nonfiction, one of my absolute favorite texts that's in our curriculum is an excerpt from Letter from a Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr. And if you're familiar with this text, you know it contains extremely advanced sentence structure, references to historical context, allusions to the Bible, to everything that was happening at the exact time period. figurative language, and then really advanced argumentative structure and rhetoric. And this is something that students need to be able to access by the time they're in eighth grade and beyond.